Depression is not real. Depression is not real.
If believing in the idea of depression is going to take my own power away, then I won't believe in it. I don't want to believe in things that make me weak.
And then he'll develop, because of this survival instinct trigger, and then he build that kind of,
After most powerful CEO, the first Prime Minister, now presenting Deepak, the most proven and female-friendly dating coach in this world, overcoming all odds.
You're an invader. Why don't you go back to India?
And still successful in the West.
So hey guys, hope you're doing good. I'm doing good too. In this video, we will be talking about depression, and I will try my best to explain you what is depression in a logical way so that you understand, and maybe it will help you to deal with it in future. I will also take the use case of Andrew Tate in this video. So if you remember, Andrew Tate multiple times told that depression don't exist and depression is bullshit and it does not exist. So we will discussing Andrew Tate case first and try to understand his mind, why he's saying this thing. This is very important to understand, and then we will be taking a normal use case and try to understand his brain, and then we will see what we can get. Andrew Tate. So we will draw his brain. So this is what we say, this is the outer core. We say this is Andrew Tate mind. This is the mind. This is like where the trigger, triggering depression kind of stuff or bad emotions, something like this, depressive thought or something like this. So if you remember, if you know, the Andrew Tate told that he is living in kind of ghetto area in Detroit, or grown up in the murder capital.
We moved to South Side Chicago, the ghetto, then Detroit, then Gary, Indiana, which at the time was the murder capital of the world. Then I went to Goshen, Indiana when I was around 4, tiny little town. I was in Goshen, Indiana until I was 11, and then I moved to Luton, England, which was voted the worst place to live in England.
And the New Luton in this ghetto area, and it was bad childhood. He was living in a bad childhood, almost very less money or something like this. So the surrounding of his environment when he was childhood was not good. It was very rough childhood. So now I will explain you from the diagram, so how his brain was developed compared to a normal person. This is very important to understand. So so this is what we say, external, bad surroundings happening, and then because if he is weak here, if this is weak, they're gonna fucking, they're gonna destroy him emotionally. It can fuck him up, these things, because a lot of these things can fuck him up. So he need to be to control these, the triggering the emotions. He need to be strong. You understand? He need to be strong in that case. So we undo these things now. So what he did, so he built, this, what we say, emotional, or desensitization of these things of his, so that his core emotions don't get affected. So this he started to make, develop in the childhood. Now these emotions come and they just go back, these emotions come and then they go back. This is a really interesting concept. They are not affecting him, and these are that is like a protection layer he developed. That is a protection layer he developed because it happened because of his survival instinct. This is very important to understand. This happens because of the survival instinct. He need to survive in these bad surroundings. In this bad surrounding, he need to survive. And at that time, when he was child, he was growing up. His emotions and the brain was developing at that time, and then he developed because of this survival instinct trigger, and then he built that kind of emotion numbness kind of thing, so that these small things will not affect him, because he has to focus on survival. So he's not really, he cannot waste his time focusing on depression and all thing. But the thing was, it was because of his childhood, the way he was growing up, you understand, because of these bad surroundings, he developed this thing, this emotional, what we say, unreactiveness, according to the. Now if we dissect this part, what it includes. Now we dissect this part we make it like, let the another slide we make is the representation I'm showing you here. What this part includes. So this part include, for example, this is very interesting to understand. This. So for example, this part, this will include, for example, you have, because of survival instinct, because of, we were like survival instinct in the childhood, when he was child, because he told that he was grown up in a bad area, for example, he learned to control emotions, switching off empathy. Sometimes that is definitely also one of the trait. You can learn to switch off empathy, something like this. Ruthlessness, and some of the traits, I am not saying that if he has developed or not developed, some of the traits can also relate it to criminal behavior. I'm not saying that he has developed these traits. I'm just saying, diagnosing him from that, what we say, psychiatrist point of view, and this is how I understand. But some of these traits, for example, some of this the survival instinct, when something happens, something like this in childhood happen, so criminal behavior kind of traits also develop. But since he's not involving, I mean, like as we see in the social media, in that kind of that big hardcore criminal activities, so that is not there in him. But definitely one of the good trait is like controlling emotion, and I don't know, switching off empathy whenever he wants to turn on, turn off empathy. It can be good, it can be bad. In many cases it can be good also, in many cases it can be bad also. It depends on how you see it. And again, when you switch off the empathy, then you can become ruthless. You switch off the empathy for the other person, then you just mow them down kind of mentality, just keep on moving forward kind of thing. So ruthlessness can also comes. So but the biggest trait is in this environment is controlling emotions. So anything that make you weak, something kind of vulnerable, you learn to control your emotion and don't let it come to you too strong, something like this. So that is what we say, Andrew Tate brain developed, because when he was growing up in that kind of rough environment, he had developed these kind of traits. So I'm explaining you on the visual basis, how it looks like. Again, controlling emotions, switch off empathy, criminal behavior. I don't know if I guess I'm neutral to him. I don't know. Ruthlessness definitely can be. So these behavior, there are some other behavior, but we are not discussing about because sociopathic traits also comes through this. Again, another trait is definitely he has is is narcissism. You need narcissism to survive in this environment. You need narcissism, so definitely narcissism is there, you know. And when you have narcissism, then you feel empathy, but you don't really give a fuck, you know, something like that. But since Andrew Tate is not, he's able to bond with his friends and everything, so he is definitely able to, he's emotionally like normal guy. He's not a psychopath who don't feel any emotion, who don't really give a fuck about any friendship or anything kind of thing. So he has a close bond with his friends and near and dear, so he do take care about these things. So he's not a like psychopath, but he, from his childhood, he learned to control his emotions. This is very important factor in Andrew Tate case. If you know one thing, like, you know, lot of mafias, criminal gangsters and all these guys, they also have the same kind of like you know, surroundings. If we see here, this, you know, we see these are same kind of surroundings they also can have, criminal gangster and all these guys also. One thing is, one interesting thing is that, like, you know, these guys maybe die because of police bullet or like, you know, something like this, but these guys will never die because of depression, because their mindset is so strong. They make this, you know, the mindset became so hardcore. This thing you see here, this wall is so thick, so hardcore, the inner part is never touched. They are just fucking so strong. So they will never, majority of the cases, they will never die of depression, because they cannot afford to be depressed. They are always on the survival mode. They cannot afford to be depressed. So this part is becoming very, very thick, you understand? So all these guys, the criminal gangster and all these guys have the same kind of like you know, more or less the same kind of upbringing. Some can be psychopath, but I'm saying, like, you know, the guys who became like criminal because of the environmental issues, the gangster and all these things, you know. So they all have, they are not going to get that much affected by depression, because their mindset is very, very you know, strong, because of the survival instinct, you know, they were facing from the very childhood. So that's why, like, you know, depression comes for them. It's just not gonna work, you know. It just deflect. It's just, they are not going to, either in their narcissism or like, you know, controlling emotions, it is not going to affect them too much, you understand? By the way, guys, if you're enjoying this video, then like this video, subscribe to this channel and hit the bell button, because that is really, really important for me and to keep me motivated, so that I can produce even better content for you guys, some amazing content, some unique, amazing content for you guys, just for you guys. And I will really appreciate if you do it. Now, before we diagnose the normal brain, we will understand what is depression. In my views, what is depression? So before we go to the normal brain, diagnose the normal brain, then we will understand what is depression, so that you will get the idea. So depression, so we talk about depression here. So depression is, in my views, depression is something like there is a persistent problem you are facing. You're facing a persistent problem for a long period of time. You're facing a persistent problem for a long period of time. You don't have no solution of this problem. There is no solution for this problem. You are just having this problem, but there is no solution. It just keep on going on and on and on. There is no alternative. There is no alternative for this. There is no alternative for this problem. Like, maybe something happened, there is no alternative. Maybe you switch to something else, like, you know, there is no alternative. And even if the third is like, if there is a solution, but you don't have any willpower or courage to take the step. You understand? This is important. So even if you have a solution, even if you know the solution, you don't have the willpower or courage to take that step. So you just keep on staying in one problem for a long period of time, and that start to cause you depression. That is the main issue in my views. That is the main issue of depression. There is no, you have a problem, there is no, the persistent problem, there is no solution, there is no alternative. And even if you have a solution, there is no, you don't have any willpower or any courage to solve that problem. Really important. So that can cause a depression if you stay in that situation for a long period of time. Now we talk about the normal person. Now we're talking about normal person. Normal person, mind, let's make the mind. So this is again, like, this is the place where the emotion trigger or depression or something like this, we are just making like diagram. So now we say, so this is a normal environment, and we see there is a like I'm putting no survival instinct are triggering. So normal environment, you have like, some issues happen here and there, some issue happen, that's it, or something. So his wall, his develop his emotion sensitiveness maybe like this. You say that everywhere it is like this. So this is emotions. It is emotion sensitiveness is thin, because he's not facing that much kind of issues in his childhood or something like that. Is like a normal grown-up child, like some typical Western family, Western like childhood or something is not too much of problem. So he's not facing it's a normal environment, not too many bad things happening here in this area. So just one or two, and that's the maximum, here and there. And then he's developing this much emotional issues, and so his brain is developed in that way. He has not learned that kind of survival, he has not gone through that survival instinct where he learned to survive and suppress the emotions, maybe triggering like narcissism and other things, kind of like behavior that can that can start to develop when you have a kind of a different kind of environment. In a normal environment, he's like a healthy emotional guy in that sense, and then he develop in that way. Softer if you have the softer childhood, the softer. So if you have a softer childhood, then this thing will not very develop, and it is like it's gonna be like you will be slightly more emotional sensitive compared to a person who has a bit rough childhood. This is how it is. That's how it is, because you have never deal with the roughness in life, and that's how your brain will develop. Now we go on to make this thing bigger also again. So now, for example, this guy is grown up. This person is this person is grown up, and some harsh things comes in his life. He's grown up. He's maybe like 25-year-old or maybe 22-year-old, and some harsh things come in his life. And then it will goes directly inside. That would go directly inside, and the emotions trigger, and some problem comes, for example, in his life. As we discussed, some problem comes, and either it can happen that he don't find any solution. He has a persistent, even if he has a solution, he's not strong enough. He's not strong enough to where it is we have here. So this person, for example, when he is facing some depression here, for example, persistent problem, then he's not finding any solution, he's not finding any alternative, and And even if there is a solution, he's not having the willpower or courage to solve this problem. In case of Andrew Tate, in case of Andrew Tate brain, for example, here, for example, and some problem comes, he knows he has the tools to deal with it. It is not triggering the deep inner emotions. He's not getting affected. Mind is not getting affected by the problem, and he able to solve it. Rationally, he's think about it. He able to solve it. Whereas this guy, this guy, the problem comes, he's not able to think rationally. He's not able to think rationally, and it can also happen that if there is no solution, he find he's too weak, he come into depression. So when Andrew Tate says, like, for example, he don't believe in depression, then you have to understand in one way that he's saying his perspective. He's saying his perspective, where most probably he's switching off empathy for other, like the people who are like softly, grown up, or like with a normal childhood, something like that. This is how I understand. I can understand his situation from his perspective. He is right that when he says depression don't exist. The problem, I think that I have to make another video, like just a person who is very soft or something, just we say like don't be depressed, is going to be very tough for someone, because it's going to be a slightly complicated thing. It can be done to make that person, like, even when he's grown up, like, completely, like, to make him more, like, emotionally desensitized, and, like, learn to deal with the problems and not getting into depression. It can definitely be possible. But in this video, I'm just trying to make you understand from the both perspective, from the Andrew Tate perspective, so that you understand how his mind was developed in his childhood, and how he is like he is now, compared to a normal guy, how his mind going to be developed if he's he's not growing up in a rough childhood, in a softer childhood, and how he may able to respond to when there is a persistent problem arise in his life, how he's going to respond and how he's going to behave in that situation. So yeah, that's what I want to make in this video, and hopefully I am able to make you explain clearly when it comes to depression. You able to understand, like, clearly how the brain functions. In my views, to deal with depression, for example, if you're not that strong-minded person, then definitely one thing that definitely help is, like, discussing about it with someone else, and sharing your problem with someone else. That is really, like, effective way to get rid of. More you share your problem with some person who is not judging you, you can get this you can get rid of depression. Somebody is giving you solution, and you work on the solution. Maybe you need support. If you are not strong enough to go through that, solution process, then maybe you need someone support. Maybe I will make another more detailed video about that, how we can deal with these situations. What are the practical solutions to make the mind stronger, as much stronger as possible? What are the practical, solutions to deal with these things? Because maybe you are grown up with a very, softer childhood. You didn't deal with that kind of, survival, and where your survival instinct is triggering all the time, and your brain is a kind of a bit softer, a bit something happens, you get emotionally triggered, and something happened for a long time, you can get depressed or something like this. Depression happens. So in my views, I do think that I will explain my case in another video, because again this video will be again too long, but I will explain many depression cases step by step, and how it happened, what was the end result. Practical, like, I have seen in my life. So so that you understand now, like, how the Andrew Tate brain was, and how a normal guy brain is going to work on a problem. Like, if the problem is persistent and he has not have that kind of, thick, strong mindset. It can also happen, like, you don't really need that kind of like rough childhood to have strong mindset. Maybe some events happen in your life, not like criminal kind of things, like, survival, you have to always triggering the survival instinct, but some events still happened in your life that can still make you a strong-minded man. Something you do in your life that make you strong-minded man. So that's what I want to say in this video. I'm not giving you exact like solution how to make the mind stronger right now in this video, but I just want to make this video only focus on, like, to understand depression and the mind, the human mind, how it works, the case of Andrew Tate and the case of comparing to the case of a normal guy, so that you get the idea. So this is how I see depression. If you have a depression is something when you have an issue that is persistent issue you are having, you are not able to get out of that issue. The issue is like emotionally like stimulating you again and again and again, triggering you again and again and again and again, and you're not having any solution to come out of it. You have no alternative, and even if you have solution, then you don't have any willpower to deal to do that solution. So I hope you like this video, you enjoyed this video. If you like this video, then like this video. If you're enjoying this video, then like this video, subscribe to my channel and hit the bell button, because that is really important and will makes me motivated to make some unique content on this channel, in future also. And we see you in the next video. Take care, bye. Guys, for the first time, I'm going to release the dating product of the century. I challenge anyone in this world who can make better than this. Dating infields domination, I'm going to release soon. That is pure infield product. I am showing my infield, from approach to taking girl home, girlfriend documentaries, uncut, everything is uncut. I will showing my client success, uncut videos. You will see how my clients getting results. You will see videos, pickup videos, infield videos from London, from New York, from Las Vegas. You will see all races, everything is inside. It's like, it's a big product I'm going to release soon. So stay tuned for that product also. It is coming very soon. Also guys, don't forget to watch the playlist Rock Solid Infield on this channel, where I'm doing live flirt, picking up girls in front of camera, showing top level pickup and attraction skills. Also don't forget to watch student transformation and testimonials, where I'm teaching my students, showing full documentaries, student success and their testimonials also.